As you travel up the escalator and walk down the steps into what appears to be a city within a pyramid, in the midst of which is this huge obelisk pointing toward the apex above. Lasers of different colors flash and cross the air in front and around and over you. Everywhere you go, there are lights, and there are television sets every which way you turn, of every conceivable size, until you finally stand and you're looking up at the side of what appears to be a skyscraper inside this pyramid, on the side of which is a huge television screen. And it reminds you of George Orwell's 1984. That immediately comes to mind. For everywhere you look, there are eyes and television sets. Just as what was described in 1984, or in Huxley's Brave New World. There is no doubt whatsoever that the people who built this resort hotel were not only well versed in the mysteries, but were experts, are experts in the mysteries. They understood everything.
Cattle, they think we are. How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel? How many of you have a Freemason in your family? 30 on up know exactly what's happening, and they're part of it. They'll tell you that they don't. They'll tell you that I'm a liar, okay? They can't tell you the truth because what? They've taken 30 different oaths that they will never disclose the secrets of the order. Blood oaths on penalty of death. And you say, hey, what about these oaths on penalty of death? All those don't mean nothing. They're just, ceremony. How many of you believe that grown men put on robes and walk around in secret rituals in temples without windows and take blood oaths and don't mean it? How many of you believe that? And if they'll take those oaths and don't mean it, will they mean the one where they have their hand on the Bible? Of course not. They're lying to you. They are liars. Chronic liars. Ceremonies and oaths give them permission to lie if it protects the secrets of the order and tells them it's okay. Now, how clear does it have to be before somebody wakes up? How many days do we have left? See, I told you yesterday, I'm not nice to people anymore. There's no time to be nice. No time to stroke you and make you feel good. I got to wake you up quick, and I got to get you ready to fight for your freedom, or you're going to make me a slave because you won't fight with me, or you'll make me dead because I'm the only one fighting. I don't like those odds, but whether you're with me or not, I'm going to fight. They're talking to us clearly. We don't hear what they're saying because we don't understand the language.
But he left one final warning.
1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it.
I am not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
Triggered.
So the Orwellian view of the vision of the future wasn't too far off based on the scenario.
George Orwell was just like me. He was a low-level member of British intelligence who was appointed to a position high enough where he saw the same documents that I saw. And he tried to warn the world just like I'm trying to warn the world, when he wasn't willing to take the risk that I'm willing to take. So he wrote it in a book called 1984 and spelled out exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world, as a work of fiction. But you notice that that work of fiction really stirred people up, because they knew that it wasn't fiction. In their heart of hearts, everyone who's read that book knows that it's coming.
It's a possibility.
Most people won't recognize it overtly or publicly, because then, if they recognize it, they have to be responsible to do something about it. And that's what every one of you have been resisting all your life, is being responsible to do something about it, to get involved. That's why you'll walk away from a girl being raped on the street by a gang of thugs rather than go and try to help her. And I'm not talking to all of you. I know there's some of you out there just like me, but most of you are just exactly what I've just described. Most people are no better than animals who do not have intelligence because they don't use their intelligence. And to these men who control things behind the scenes, you are stakes on the table by choice and consent, and will always be ruled and manipulated and enslaved by people who do use their brains.
It was noted that the unity of all the world's religions and the recognition that they all derived from the same ancient source is the central philosophy of the sacred societies. It is the goal of the World Council of Religions. It was the message of Pope John Paul II in Denver, Colorado, dear listeners. And he replaced the last pope who tried to be a good pope. He was murdered after exactly 33 days in office. Now, I read this from La Traviata. La Traviata, the December 1993 issue, I believe. Is it the December? Yes, December 1993 issue. To show you that I'm not the only insane person out here who has discovered the truth amongst all the lies. Anyone can do it. I don't know who wrote that. I never saw that paper before. It was sent to me by a CAGI member. The author's name, I don't believe, is listed there. And even if it was, I still don't know him. Anyone who wants to look for the truth and find it will find it. It's not hidden, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, today, even though it began as a conspiracy hundreds and thousands of years ago, today it is all being done in the open. They believe that all of us are so stupid, actually, that they even write books about it, disclosing their whole intentions, all of their plans, knowing that none of you will ever read those books. And if you did, you wouldn't believe it. said none of you. That's not really true. There's some of you out there who are learning, who are awake, who are struggling, who are fighting this battle with me and with Carolyn and with many others to try to save the penultimate achievement of all of mankind throughout the history of the world. That's the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. When I make a statement like that, I always get letters or people call if I open the phones and say, how can you make that statement, Bill, when you just told us that our founding fathers were members of these secret societies? Very simple, folks. Read the writings of the founding fathers. They will tell you themselves. This was a great experiment to see if man was capable of ruling himself, and if he was, this would be the culmination of the great work. But you will also find in their writings that they understood human nature better than any of us do or probably ever will. For they knew that with the keys built into the Constitution, we would give up our Creator-endowed rights and trade them for benefits from the state, thus relegating ourselves back into the old position of owned property. We would become indentured to the state for accepting these privileges. But they knew that people did then, as they do today, except for a very few people who really understand and appreciate freedom and understand the responsibilities and the consequences that go along with it. They understood that most people spend the first 20 years of their lives struggling to become responsible and to be accepted as a man or a woman in their own right, able to be responsible, strike out on their own, build a business, sign contracts. And once they discover the responsibilities and requirements that freedom demands, they spend the rest of their life trying to crawl back into the womb, searching for a daddy to take care of them. That's why socialism is so attractive to most people, ladies and gentlemen. It tells them they no longer have to be responsible. Then in exchange for their freedoms, Daddy the state will take care of them. Daddy the state will give them a job. Daddy the state will pretend to pay them if they pretend to work. Daddy the state will provide them with some sort of a hovel in which they can live, so they don't have to worry about paying the rent. Yes, Daddy will even change their diapers and give them clothes to wear. Daddy will tell them what time in the morning they can go out on the street and what time in the evening they must be inside their hovel. Daddy will discipline them. Daddy will make sure that there's no crime to threaten them. Oh yes, many, many people will love the New World Order and the New World Religion and the new world of entertainment that will be erected in place of the old Roman circus in order to keep the populace entertained and diverted. Mindless libraries will be filled with the new history books and the new politically correct dogma of the new politically correct world and the new politically correct religion. And everywhere you look, you will see the symbols of the generative force, the phallus of Osiris, the representation of the old god of Babylon, Baal, Nimrod. Isis will be everywhere. You see, for Osiris is the doctrine, Isis is the church, Horus is the great body of initiates that will rule you. They call themselves wolves. And of course, dear listeners, you are the sheep, the legal and lawful prey of the wolves. A nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden, and yes, stakes on the table by choice and consent. If we didn't love you here, we would not say these things to you.
please wake up. Good night, and God bless you all.
Out our friends at Microsoft. Windows 95, folks, is designed in the program to create an audit report of your hardware and software, everything in your computer. If you register online via the Microsoft network or Microsoft's BBS, all of the details of your system, unbeknownst to you, will be uploaded to Microsoft. Talk about Big Brother. This is it. The original article that blew this wide open appeared in Computer Reseller News over a year ago. Now, just in case you think that that was a fluke and they didn't really put it in there and Cooper's full of it, well, folks, it's not a fluke. And as usual, I'm certainly not full of it. Although sometimes I wish I were, because it would mean we didn't have to pay any attention to all this crap. But unfortunately, it's true. Now, there was a column called In Short in Information Week on page 88. This is Information Week magazine, May 22nd, 1995, right before the release. The column is called In Short, page 88, Information Week, May 22nd, 1995. Microsoft officials confirm that beta versions of Windows 95 include a small viral routine called Registration Wizard. Wizard. It interrogates every system on a network, gathering intelligence on what software is being run on which machine. It then creates a complete listing of both Microsoft's and competitors' products by machine, which it reports to Microsoft when customers sign up for Microsoft's network services. Due for launch later this year, customers must actively disable the routine if they don't want it to run. Now, if you're not a programmer, forget it. You would never know how to disable this routine. The implications of this action and the attitude of Microsoft to plan such an action beggars the imagination. And it may be just a very small implication of what is to come. Now, folks, the way to get around it is don't use Microsoft Network. Don't register online with Microsoft. And don't ever call Microsoft's bulletin board. It's as simple as that. Or you can find yourself a programmer that knows how to disable this thing. You see, what's so dangerous about this, folks, is a fellow got hold of the beta test CD of Win95, and he set up a packet sniffer between his serial port and the modem. So when you try out the free demo time on the Microsoft network, it transmits your entire directory structure in the background. That's what he found. This means that they have a list of every directory and potentially every file on your machine, your financial records, the set of books that you use to keep track of your business. Oh, yeah. All of your friends and relatives, their addresses and telephone numbers. Your newsletter mailing list of all the people you promised you would never give out their name and address. It would not be difficult to have something like a file request from your system to theirs without you even knowing about it. This way they can get a hold of any juicy routines or files or papers or letters you've written, your books, and I don't mean books that you read, I mean your financial records, and claim them as their own if you don't have them copyrighted. How about that? See, Big Brother is not an invention. Big Brother
The real world is much different than you have ever perceived it. There are those who want to take it all away from us, and they want to establish what they call a new world order. A one-world totalitarian socialist government wherein each of us will be controlled on a 24-hour day basis and will, in fact, be chained to a computer in a system of cashless debt which will be more cruel than any prison that has ever been built. You all sit there in your chairs and you watch all of these things being violated. Police breaking down doors without identifying themselves. They rush in, they rip the house apart, they search everything. It's against the Constitution, the basic rights, freedoms guaranteed to us in this country. The reason why you allow it to happen and cheer them on is because they're doing it to minorities, blacks, what some people would call poor white trash, minorities, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Hispanics. And because you're basically racist at heart, you say, get those suckers, throw them in jail. What you don't understand, though, is when you take away the rights of any single one of us, any one citizen in this entire country, you have taken the rights of all. And by your passive acceptance, after you have been shown what is happening, to establish the law again in the common law, that you no longer have those rights. That is a legal fact, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not stand up and claim your rights the moment you see them violated, it can be construed in law that you no longer are entitled to those rights. Wake up. Please wake up.